Hi guys, and welcome to another episode of the Iron Personal Training YouTube channel. Today we're going to talk over the last block of my program which I've just completed like we did before. So for those of you who haven't been keeping up to date or new to the channel, the first block we did in this new block training style that I'm doing, if you like, was doing 12s on my main movements. So that's your squat, your bench and your deadlifts. In this one we have moved to doing 10s on your main movement, and we've not done comp movements on everything, and we also did an SBD speed day as well. And we're just going to talk through this. We're going to talk about anything that I'm going to do different in the next block, or anything I might change if I come back to doing this block again. So I do hope you enjoy, and yeah, we'll just get started. So it's been a really good block. I'm training at the moment, it's feeling fantastic. I'm feeling like I've got the most muscle mass I've had in a long time. I'm feeling nice and strong. I'm feeling like I can take a lot of weight, and I've really enjoyed doing this higher volume. So as I've said in previous videos, last year my comp schedule was like last year into like the start of this year really, the comp schedules were quite close together, whereas now I've had a good 6 months in between comps, maybe a little bit more. I'm actually still waiting for the ABPU South Yorkshire Qualifier comp to be announced. Hopefully it's going to be soon, so I can start knowing where I need to go with my training towards that. So this is the first time I've had like a good long off season since I really started competing in powerlifting, and it's really doing the trick, and it's definitely something that I will focus on more later down the line, is putting in these higher volume sessions and blocks, because I really feel like it's giving me an advantage. And then when I do go back to the lower volume training, it's going to be like introducing a new stimulus all over again. So that variety has definitely been good for me, and it's something that I'm definitely going to keep in. So for this one, we did, for the squat and the deadlift, we didn't do just the competition movements. We actually did a low box squat for the squat movement, and we did a floor press for the bench movement. Two movements that I love, fantastic. Obviously, the benefit for doing the floor press is that you're taking your feet out from the movement, so it makes the press a little bit harder, even though you're doing a reduced range of motion, and putting a little pause in there as well has a really good crossover. And the midpoint of my bench is where I failed my last few benches in competition, so really trying to focus on that weaker area. Box squats, obviously fantastic. Now I do have a video, and I'll try and leave a link for it somewhere, talking about how I do box squats, and I do the grip Nora style, which I find works better for raw lifters, which is where you don't fully sit in the box. You kind of sit down in the box and you don't just jump straight off. There's a slight pause, but you're not letting any of the tightness developed leave. Basically, you're keeping nice and tight under the weight and then shooting up, and I find that has the best crossover. Obviously, using a safety bar as well really works the upper back, because you've got to keep nice and high up against the bar. Whereas when I did my last competition, the 225 squat that I failed was because I dipped forward too much and I lost my balance completely. So it's just something that I want to work on, in doing that kind of stuff really helps out. For sumos, we stuck with the sumo deadlift because I'm still learning sumo deadlift. It's coming on a long way, I feel, and I'm feeling really strong with it. I definitely feel like I still have the same kind of style that I do with my conventional deadlift, which is where I'm really powerful on a full range, or even a deficit movement with the sumo actually. But the lockout is still going to be the weaker point for me, so that's an area that I've got to work on, and just make sure that I'm aware of that while I'm doing my training. And the accessories you did for this one, I feel like have worked really well. We are going to do some changes, things like the stiff leg dead sumos. I am going to run them again, but I'm going to run them at a deficit, and I'm going to run them slightly heavier as well, just to feel like I'm getting the full benefit out of them. Things like tempo bench, I think is a really good one. Maybe went a little bit too heavy on that. I did have to drop the rep range, and then everything on the squat one was nice. Tempo squats are something that I love and really recommend people putting in. Hip thrust, split squats, yeah, all really good on there. Now the thing that I want to speak about as well is the speed day that I did. So this time I changed my second bench day into an SBD speed day. So we did banded cambered bar squats into red elite FTS squats from 50% up to 59%. We did Banded bench, again, same percentages, so did 50, 53, 56, 59, and then we did banded deadlifts at a higher percentage, so we finished on 69% with them, and we then did the seal rows and tricep rollbacks. Now I'm going to change this slightly. What I'm going to do, because I do feel like I've lost some of the benefits of that second bench day, just some of the accessories in there, like the lat work, some extra back work that has a good crossover to the other movements. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to have 5 days training now, but 1 day is going to be just SPD day, so SPD speed day. So you can do speed squat, speed bench, and speed deadlift, and that's it. That's all you're going to do. So it's only going to take me maybe an hour or 45 minutes to bash through that session really quickly, because obviously you're taking 60 seconds rest in between everything, and we're going nice and quick through everything. So that's something that I can just fit in, even if it means I have to do 2 sessions in 1 day, which, looking at my calendar and planning things out properly, shouldn't happen. But if it does, I'm not actually going to be fatiguing myself too much for the next session that I'm going to have to do as well. So that's something that I'm going to change, and I just feel like I could do with that little bit extra bench volume. Whenever I do higher, more frequent bench, I feel like I get the best crossover on it as well. So that's just something that I've put in there that I think will help. But that's really the only big change. And probably if I came back to this again, I would run a similar kind of system. I would put the squat SPD day as a separate day, the speed SPD day as a separate day, and put a different bench variation in for that second day. So what we're going to do, moving on to the next block. So next block is really exciting. It's 6 sixes. I've never actually run 6 sixes before, or I can't remember running 6 sixes before, so I'm pretty sure I've never done them before. But it's going to be fun. It's allowing me to do the same amount of reps that I was doing when I was doing my 12s on the block before, but obviously with a heavier weight, because we're doing more sets but less reps in each set. So we're doing 6 sixes on low bar squats, which is my comp squat. Everything's going back to comp, so bench and deadlifts as well. Deadlifts are going to start a little bit higher, because I'm going to test my sumo max at the end of the month, because my gym is having like a Halloween event, deadlift event, so I'm going to use that as an opportunity to test where my sumo is. So we're going to start a week ahead on that, which I don't think would be a problem. And then we're going to run the extra bench day. So for the extra bench day, we're going to do 5x5 Spoto press. We're going to start around the 110 mark. We'll see how that feels. If it feels really light, good, we'll put it up a little bit. If it feels like a good starting weight, we'll leave it there and just let it progress throughout the program. But that's it really, mainly. The few differences we're going to do as well, actually, before we go, is we're going to do our secondary squat and deadlift movement on the opposite day. So we're going to do my low bar squats, and then we're going to do some deficit sumo pulls on the squat day, and then we're going to do the sumo deadlifts, and we're going to do some high bar squats on the deadlift day. So what we're doing there is we're just meaning that when we're going into that secondary movement, we're not as fatigued in that particular movement pattern, so it should help me push them a little bit more. And especially with like the deadlifts and stuff, like where my grip's going and stuff like that, that shouldn't be an effect coming in from sumo. So it's going to be good sessions. I imagine it's going to be hard. In fact, I know it's going to be hard, because I'm actually 3 sessions into my new block while I'm recording this. I've done the first bench day, the first squat day, and the first SPD day. And I might as well tell you what I'm going to do for the SPD day as well. We're going to do a spider bar into chains, which was really good fun. Took me a while though, if I'm honest, to work out how to set the chains up properly. We're going to do a axle bench into double delete SPS band, and we'll do sumo into chains as well. It's about 50 kilos of chains on both of them, and that's again just to help overload that lockout, but still working on being like nice and powerful into that movement. So guys, I really think that's it. So I'm really enjoying this training. Everything's going really well. If you do have any questions or in this manner, or you would like any one-to-one sessions, I do actually have some space available at the moment. So use the link in the description below to get in touch. If you are in Sheffield, I can't recommend using the SSPC, so Sheffield Strength Performance Centre, which is a gym that I've moved to. We'll just talk about this quickly actually. Moving to this gym has been fantastic. I will say nothing bad about Steel Physique. It was a fantastic place, and the guys who ran it were lovely to me. But moving to SPC, it's like feels like the next level in powerlifting. The people that are around you, the lifts that you see people do, the atmosphere when it's busy is absolutely amazing. And it does feel like that old school, I know like everyone says like, oh, West Side Barbell kind of feeling, and it feels again like, for me personally, it feels like playing on a sports team again, like a rugby team. Like everyone's really supportive, everyone wants to do well, but everybody also takes the piss out of you at the same time, which is something that I really enjoy. just nice and fun. People who are there just love powerlifting. Like, for those who haven't seen, in my deload week, I actually did some, because I've done so much volume, I did some like heavy singles work. So I did a heavy block pull on my sumo. I got up to about 240, and I did the first time I've ever put a single ply bench shirt on. I managed to do 200, not quite to my chest, but pressed out 200, and that was all thanks to one of the guys that trains there just saying, like, would you like to try a bench shirt, and letting me just chuck it on for a bit of fun. And you just don't get that at normal gyms. Obviously you don't get that in commercial gyms, but even gyms where powerlifting is like the secondary focus for them, you don't get that kind of thing. So it's really good, it's really enjoyable, you can just learn stuff of all these people, and it's just a fantastic place to be. So if you are in Sheffield, I honestly can't recommend it high enough. Yeah, but that's it. So, like I say, remember to like, subscribe. If you want to get in touch, use the link in the description below. If you want to book a session or you want some programming, link in the description below. Don't forget to check out the I'm Personal Training podcast as well. We've just done a podcast reviewing 2023's Britain's Strongest Woman and UK's Strongest Man. So if you are into strongman, that might be, or strong woman, that might be worth giving a listen as well. And we talk about loads of other topics on there as well. And again, the link will be in the description for that below. So again, guys, thank you for listening. If you've got this far in the video, well done, to be fair. But apart from that, guys, I will see you in the next video, which will be the squat video that we've just spoken about. So starting the 6x6. No, sorry, it'll be the bench 6x6 video is the one that's coming out next. And I hope you enjoy it. So I'll see you then.